Imagine being in a world where silence is misunderstood as weakness, where emotional distance is mistaken for vulnerability, and where calm is interpreted as lack of power. But what if I told you that true strength, the kind that makes you mentally untouchable, lies not in loudness or dominance, but in quiet mastery of the mind? This is not just about mental toughness, it's about learning the mind trick that transforms how you perceive manipulation, control, and emotional noise around you. From the moment we enter this noisy world, we are bombarded with influences trying to shape us: media, peers, expectations, failures. We grow up reacting more than acting, absorbing more than choosing, and by the time we realize it, we are entangled in a system of psychological traps that keep us anxious, reactive, and unsure. The trick to becoming mentally untouchable begins by stepping outside that noise, to witness the manipulation instead of absorbing it. It's what the Stoics called observing the mind, what Jung called individuation, and what modern psychology calls metacognition. It is the art of watching your own thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. Most people never achieve this. They think they're thinking, but they're actually reacting. And reaction is the playground of manipulation. If you can be triggered, you can be controlled. And that is where the game of power is played. This trick starts by understanding that every emotion you feel, jealousy, anger, shame, fear, is a signal, not a command. Most people obey their emotions like orders. They feel angry and lash out, feel ashamed and shrink, feel rejected and chase validation. But the mentally untouchable person pauses. They observe. They decode. They don't let emotions drive the car, they let them ride along, informing the journey, not hijacking it. This gives them power. Because power isn't about domination. It's about inner space. About not being hijacked by every glance, every text, every opinion. The world loses its grip when your buttons can no longer be pushed. This is not suppression. It is awareness. Emotional intelligence isn't just knowing what you feel, it's knowing what others are trying to make you feel. When you understand this, manipulation becomes obvious. You start to see the games being played, in relationships, in politics, in advertising. You stop being the puppet and start noticing the strings. The trick deepens when you understand narrative. Everyone's trying to sell you a story, about who you are, what you deserve, what's possible. And those who control the story, control the mind. That's why media is powerful, why toxic relationships are confusing, why self-doubt spreads like wildfire. But when you become the author of your own narrative, you become mentally untouchable. You rewrite the roles. You stop playing victim, savior, or villain in someone else's script. You step out of the drama entirely. That's where Carl Jung comes in. Jung believed that the mind is full of archetypes, characters we unconsciously play out. The hero, the orphan, the rebel, the ruler. Most people live their whole lives playing roles they didn't choose. But individuation, becoming whole, means becoming aware of the role you're playing and choosing consciously to transform it. That's the core of the mind trick. It's not about resisting reality. It's about stepping above it, seeing the hidden structure beneath the chaos, and positioning yourself outside the emotional storm. Mental untouchability also means being at peace with discomfort. Manipulators exploit the fear of discomfort. They use urgency, guilt, shame, and social pressure to make you react. But when discomfort no longer scares you, they lose their power. This is where Viktor Frankl's insight becomes gold. He said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is the entire game. Cultivating that space is the mind trick. The bigger the space, the more untouchable you become. It means you can feel the pressure and not crack. You can hear the insult and not absorb it. You can see the trap and walk around it. It is calm, but not passive. Still, but not stagnant. Strategic, not reactive. Another layer of this mind trick is energy conservation. Most people leak energy through over-explaining, defending, comparing, chasing. The mentally untouchable conserve energy by detaching from the need to be seen, validated, or understood. They speak when it matters. They move when it counts. They understand that presence is more powerful than performance. In this way, they radiate power without broadcasting it. It is silent strength, the kind that makes people lean in without knowing why. This also ties into Schopenhauer's view of the will. He believed that most suffering comes from endless striving, the will chasing what it doesn't have. But when you master your will, when you stop being ruled by craving, status, or approval, you step into mental invincibility. You no longer chase, and that confuses the system. People don't know how to manipulate someone who doesn't crave what they're offering. Let's not forget emotional minimalism. The untouchable mind does not mean cold or uncaring, it means selective. You don't open your emotions to everyone. You don't react to every stimulus. You learn to sit with your thoughts, to understand them, and then decide what deserves your energy. It is a discipline. A training. Like a warrior sharpens a blade, you sharpen your awareness. And this training changes your energy. You become harder to provoke, harder to read, harder to corner. But here's the irony, the more mentally untouchable you become, the more people project onto you. They can't understand your stillness, so they assume you're angry. They can't manipulate your emotions, so they call you cold. But this only confirms the mind trick is working. When silence unnerves, when calm feels powerful, you've transcended the noise. This trick is not about perfection. You will still feel, still doubt, still face pressure. But the difference is you will not be ruled by it. You will have a center, a core, a place within that cannot be shaken by surface chaos. That is the essence of mental untouchability. It is a power rooted not in denial but in awareness. Not in force but in clarity. Not in detachment but in mastery. When you embody this, you become the anomaly. The one who can walk through storms without being soaked. The one who sees through the manipulation and chooses freedom. The one who plays the game, but on their own terms. This world is not kind to the mentally untouchable. Because such people can't be sold lies. They can't be baited by shame. They can't be silenced by fear. And that makes them dangerous, not in a violent way, but in a liberating way. They are the ones who hold the mirror, who break the patterns, who write new scripts. So if you want to apply this trick, start small. Practice the pause. Watch your thoughts. Track your emotional triggers. Refuse to be baited. Choose clarity over chaos. Redefine power as presence. And remember, the goal is not to feel nothing, but to choose what deserves your fire. When you do this, manipulation becomes obvious. Control attempts become laughable. And your life becomes your own. Because at the end of the day, mental untouchability isn't a shield that keeps the world out, it's a lens that changes how you see it. And once your perception changes, the world can never own you again. That is your edge. That is your power. Use it well.